I have a problem and my doctors don't know what it is. My heart races. I've had problems since 1984 with recurring attacks. Sometimes I get totally knocked out. In the beginning, I only had a few attacks. Recently they've become more frequent. The problem is that when the heart slows down and becomes normal, it apparently stops for a while. I've been very deep when it happened the first time, lost part of the memory, but the other time has burned into my memory forever. I got a kind of floating feeling, like if you were about to fly away. I could see myself from the outside, and got a weird feeling of a presence, like I wasn't alone, like someone took me by the hand and led me to the spiral, or tunnel where I'd never been before. Suddenly I was there, and then I wasn't in control of my life anymore. Rather, there was something else that I don't know what it is. Suddenly, I was in the tunnel and that state was horrible. No matter how hard you try to explain it, you can't. It wasn't a question of wanting it or not, you just went straight down into it, the tunnel. It wasn't round, but had jagged segments in several layers that surrounded you on all sides. Zigzag-shaped segments, or something like that, bathed in the same intensive light. It was like black in between or something, don't know if it was an empty space there. I got very dizzy, like everything was spinning around, and at the same time, I had a feeling like I was standing still. I don't know how long it lasted, but it was long and the feeling was awful and painful. I can't describe the torment. It wasn't of this world. There was a visual impression I got I'll never forget as long as I live. You can describe the tunnel like you were stuck, you can't move, and at the same time it's like you're stretched out in some way. I don't know how. Although you don't have your normal feelings, you apparently have soul feelings, but I still can't talk about the emotional part. It still hurts when I think about it. When you come out of the spiral on the other side, it's dark with lots of white dots that move towards you. It feels like you're hurled outwards at a high speed. Don't know how far I got out there, but it lasted for a long time. Then I started thinking, if I go on I'll be stuck here, and then I woke up lying on the floor. I don't know if it was a dream or reality. Since then I've acquired a new ability. I can see plants and trees and also clouds in the sky. Psychically, I've seen people and animals. I could never do that before. Precognitive ability comes more often now than before. Sometimes, I can see 3 or 5 weeks ahead. None of it has been wrong yet, but I can't control it. When I see trees, they are of supernatural beauty, and when they've got snow on them all the ice crystals have the flat side turned towards you. You can't see anything at the edges and the trees don't seem to have roots. It can't be dreams. The strange thing is I was standing in a fir forest and felt the smell of furs during the experience, but I still don't remember seeing anything before or after the tunnel, and still I could smell furs at home for a long time afterwards. I've had 3 experiences like that afterwards, but now I know for sure I've been on another level than this one. Everything I see is real. You can't explain it in any other way than that there is something after a death. I am totally sure of it. You can't explain it away. You can't see something that's never happened before. My outlook on life has changed completely. I've become humble and emotional and open after these experiences. I'm psychic, have always seen things which are difficult to explain, but at the same time I thought they were natural. I have often seen a mountain or Alp with the 3 lights. This has been both a frightening and wonderful experience. The mountain has a strong light in the middle and on the left side a small light, and a similar one on the right side. On the right side, between the middle and the right light, there is a cloud or whatever it is. You can't say it's black or grey. It's hard to explain what it's like. It's like bubbly at the edges all around, and at the same time it radiates both good and evil. If you think good thoughts, then goodness and peace radiate, and if you don't think right, a beast appears in the middle light. The middle light is bigger and the light is extremely intensive. It's either white or bluish white. It's hard to explain, an unnatural light. From the light, horizontally, there is a 2-armed spiral emerging, not compressed, but expanded like a DNA spiral. It is funnel-shaped, narrow by the light and broader further out, and it slowly rotates around clockwise with a humming sound, a very low-frequency sound, which gives an uncomfortable feeling of aversion, and there's no connection to the ground between whatever it is and the spiral. And it's like a fog or haze. This is how far I've got with my usual psychic ability.
In 1985, when 11 years old, I fell ill with flu. This gradually turned into pneumonia, which then collapsed my left lung. By this time, the doctor rushed me into hospital via ambulance. That night I was placed into an oxygen tent, but I kept burning up. I fell asleep and I had the strangest dream. In this dream, I dreamt that I was in a hospital room that I didn't recognize. I was in a bed next to two machines, one like a heart monitor and another like a breathing machine. At this time, my view had floated up to the ceiling by the clock. I could now see the whole room, where there were 4 nurses in the room. I knew that this meant I was going to die. I saw one nurse in the room beside my body, and this meant I knew I would be okay. The room was very bright, and I wasn't scared at all. All the pain I had while being ill had gone, and I really didn't want to go back into my body. I knew that my family loved me and I loved them, so I made a conscious decision to go back into the body. The next morning, I told my mother about this dream I had. This worried her, and she explained to the doctor that I was telling her about my death. The strangest thing is, the doctor said he has heard of many stories where people have premonitions of their death when someone is so gravely ill, and it didn't surprise him. That night I fell asleep again. This I do not remember. By all accounts, I was rushed into intensive care and taken into a room where I was going into cardiac arrest. They put me on a life support machine and on a heart monitor. The doctors explained that when children are dying, they put 4 nurses/doctors in the room, but if the child recovers, they only have 1 nurse in the room. This scared my mother as she remembered what I had told her and became very upset. The thing is, I recovered and they were able to diagnose me with a medical condition and explained why I had suddenly gone into cardiac arrest. I am now 29 years old and working as a designer.